Imagine a building that repairs its own cracks. Imagine a building that heals itself after damage. Imagine a construction that can automatically fix small cracks without workers, machines, or repair materials. Sounds like science fiction, right? But what if I tell you that engineers have already developed such technology by borrowing an idea directly from nature? Today, we are going to learn one of the most fascinating applications of biology in engineering, self-healing concrete. And trust me, this topic is not only interesting but also very important for semester exam. In our previous lecture, we learned how engineers observe nature and borrow successful ideas from biological systems. Now, nature has another lesson for us. When our skin gets cut, the body automatically repairs the damage. When a bone fractures, the body gradually heals itself. This nature self-healing repair mechanism inspired engineering to ask an important question. Can construction material also repair themselves? To answer that question, we first need to understand the biggest problem associated with conventional concrete. Concrete is the most widely used construction material on earth. Almost every building, bridge, dam, tunnel, and road depends on concrete. But despite its popularity, concrete has one major weakness: it cracks. Whenever concrete experiences tension, environmental stress, temperature variation, shrinkage, or aging, cracks start developing. At first, these cracks may look very small. Many students think small cracks are not dangerous, but this is exactly where most students get confused. The crack itself is not the biggest problem. The real problem begins when water enters through these cracks. Once water penetrates inside this concrete, it reaches the steel reinforcement bars. Over the time, corrosion starts. The steel begins to rust. The strength of the structure gradually decreases. Eventually, the lifespan of the entire structure gets reduces. This is why engineers pay so much attention to cracks in concrete structures. Now, an interesting fact: ordinary concrete already possesses a limited ability known as autonomous healing. Very tiny micro cracks can sometimes close naturally. This happens because some cement particles remain unreacted inside the concrete. When water enters through micro cracks, these particles react and partially seals the crack. However, this natural healing is limited and cannot solve larger cracking problems. That is why engineers search for a better solution. Think about underground basement. Think about marine structures. Also think about dams and waters. These structures are continuously exposed to moisture. These are highly vulnerable to corrosion and distortion. Traditional repairs method requires workers to identify cracks, repair mortar, attach it using metal pins, and cracks out of maintenance activities. This process is costly. It requires manpower, it consumes time, and sometimes damaged locations are difficult to access. So engineers asked an important question. Instead of repairing concrete after cracks repair, why not make the concrete repair itself? And this is the idea led to development of self-healing concrete. Self-healing concrete, also called as bacterial concrete or bioconcrete, is a special concrete capable of automatically sealing cracks after hardening. The secret lies inside microscope bacteria. The bacteria act like tiny repair workers hidden inside the concrete. Whenever damage occurs, they become active and start repairing the cracks. This is the one of the best example biomimicry in modern engineering. Now let us understand the material used. Several Bacillus species are commonly used because they can survive extreme conditions by forming spores. The common Bacillus includes Bacillus sphaereus, Bacillus sphaericus, Bacillus sphaereus, Bacillus subtilis, Bacillus cohni, Bacillus ballodorus, Bacillus ballodorus, and Bacillus pseudoforms. and Bacillus pseudoforms. Dofirmus. These bacteria are harmless to humans. Along with bacteria, engineers add calcium, latte, nitrogen, and phosphorus. Calcium latte serves as food for bacteria. The most amazing fact is that these bacterial spores can remain dormant inside concrete for nearly 200 years. Imagine that tiny organisms sleeping inside concrete for decades, waiting for crack to appear. Now this leads to the most important concept: how does self-healing concrete actually works? Let us understand the process step by step. First, crack develops in the concrete. Second, water enters the crack. The entering water activates the dormant bacterial spores. These bacteria wake up and start consuming calcium latte. As they feed, biological reaction begins. The soluble calcium compounds gradually convert into insoluble limestone. This limestone starts accumulating inside the cracks. Over the time, the limestone hardens. The crack gets filled automatically. So the advantages are: no external repair is required, no workers are required, no maintenance operation is required. The concrete repairs itself from inside and becomes the crack is sealed. Water can no longer enter. As a result, steel corrosion is prevented and the durability of structure increases significantly. Now let us look at the chemistry behind the process. When water enters the cracks, it comes into contact with unhydrated calcium compounds present in concrete. With bacterial assistance, calcium hydroperoxide is produced. This calcium hydroxide reacts with carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. As a result, limestone and water are formed. The limestone gradually deposits inside the crack. As the limestone hardens, the crack becomes sealed. This continuous formation of limestone is the actual healing mechanism behind self-healing concrete. Now, you may wonder how these bacteria are introduced to concrete. There are two common methods. The first method is direct application. Direct application. Here, the bacteria and calcium latte are directly mixed into wet concrete during preparation. The second one is encapsulation. Encapsulation. In this approach, bacteria and nutrients are enclosed inside lightweight clay pellets. These pellets are mixed into concrete. When cracks occurs and water enters, the capsules break and release the healing agent. Using this method, cracks up to about 0.5 millimeters can be effectively healed. Now let us discuss the advantages. The biggest advantage is automatic crack repair. Maintenance requirements are reduced significantly. Comprehensive strength and flexural strength improved compared to ordinary concrete. The material shows better resistance against freeze-thaw conditions. Permeability decreases, steel corrosion reduces, durability increases, and the bacteria used are harmless to humans. So remember these advantages. These are frequently asked in examinations, so remember them carefully. However, every technology has limitations. Self-healing concrete is more expensive than conventional concrete. Its cost can almost double. Bacterial growth may not perform equally well under all environmental conditions. Another limitation is the lack of standardized design codes for bacterial concrete in many regions. These are the major drawbacks students should remember. So, finally, let us look at the application. Self-healing concrete is especially useful in structure where maintenance is difficult or costly. Examples: underground hazardous waste, underground hazardous waste storage facilities, high-rise building, high-rise building, water tanks, dams, bridges, tunnels, concrete floors, concrete floors, and basement walls. And basement wall. In these all these structures, preventing water leakage and corrosion is extremely important. That is the extreme exactly where self-healing concrete provides its greatest benefits. So today we have learned how engineers borrowed nature's self-repair mechanism and create concrete that can heal its own cracks. We saw how tiny bacteria becomes microscopic repair workers, producing limestone and protecting structures from damage. But now think about this, cracks are not only the problems engineers face, air pollution, bad odor, industrial gases, and contaminated water are also major challenges. What if microorganisms could help clean pollution too? What if nature could act as a living filtration system? Sound fascinating, right? In our next lecture, we are going to explore biofilters, technology where microorganisms work continuously to remove pollutants from air and water. Trust me, once you understand how biofilter works, you will realize that some of the best environmental engineers on earth are actually microbes. If today's lecture helped you understand self-healing concrete clearly, don't forget to hit the like button. Share this video with your friends preparing for semester examination assignments. Subscribe to the channel for more easy engineering lectures. And in the comment section tell me, would you trust a building that can repair its own cracks? I would love to read your answer. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next video.